In the cold expanse of space, far from the twinkling lights of Earth, the stage was set for a confrontation that would echo through the annals of human history. The formidable Zorthian fleet, led by the relentless Commander Tharvex, hovered menacingly near one of humanity's remote outposts, located on the barren moon of Lunaris. Their ships, massive and bristling with weaponry, glinted ominously against the backdrop of the vast universe. Commander Tharvex stood on a bridge of his flagship, the Dominion's Claw. His features were hard and angular, typical of the Zorthian race, with eyes that burned a deep, fiery orange. His lips curled into a sneer as he surveyed the human defenses, which to his eyes seemed laughably inadequate. "Initiate the countdown," Tharvex commanded, his voice echoing through the silent bridge. "Once we strike, these humans will regret they ever crossed the Zorthian Empire." Unbeknownst to Tharvex, the humans had been preparing for such a confrontation for years. Admiral Alara Miles, a veteran of numerous space battles, stood at the helm of humanity's response aboard the USS Resilience. Her gaze was steely and her mind raced with strategies. The human forces might have appeared outmatched, but Alara knew better. They had a secret weapon, and more importantly, the indomitable spirit of humanity on their side. As the Zorthian fleet began their approach, alarms blared throughout the USS Resilience. Crew members rushed to their stations, their faces set with determination. Alara addressed her crew with calm authority. "Prepare to engage stealth mode and activate the spectral shields," she instructed. The ship responded immediately, its outline blurring slightly as it blended more seamlessly with the surrounding space. Meanwhile, on Lunaris, the human ground forces were not idle. Colonel Darren Lockwood oversaw the preparations of the planetary defenses. Artillery units were camouflaged, and anti-spacecraft turrets were calibrated for maximum efficiency. "We may be outgunned, but we are never outsmarted," Lockwood murmured to his second-in-command as they inspected the installations. Back on the Dominion's Claw, Tharvex observed the human outpost through his tactical display. Something felt off. The human ships had not scrambled to escape or launched any distress signals. They seemed almost calm. A flicker of doubt crossed his mind, but he dismissed it quickly. "Advance and prepare to fire on my command," Tharvex bellowed, his confidence unshaken. The Zorthian ships moved closer, their weapons charging with a low, ominous hum. However, just as they prepared to unleash their firepower, the human ships, including the USS Resilience, began to disappear and reappear in rapid, erratic patterns across the Zorthian's displays. Confusion spread among the Zorthian crew. "What sorcery is this?" Tharvex growled, slamming his fist on the console. Admiral Miles watched the Zorthians disarray with a grim smile. The humans had developed a quantum phasing technology that allowed their ships to shift slightly out of phase with normal space, making them difficult to target. "Now, execute Plan Artemis," she commanded. At her order, the human ships reappeared suddenly, encircling the Zorthian fleet. Before the aliens could react, the humans launched a barrage of highly advanced, phase-shifted torpedoes. The Zorthians were caught completely off guard. Explosions rocked their fleet as the torpedoes, invisible and fast, slipped through their shields and struck their hulls. On Lunaris, the ground defenses came alive, unleashing a devastating salvo that lit up the moon's surface. The anti-spacecraft turrets, enhanced with adaptive targeting systems, wreaked havoc on the Zorthian fighters that had descended into the atmosphere. As the first skirmish drew to a close, Commander Tharvex realized he had underestimated the humans. His fleet, though still formidable, had been rattled by the unexpected human ingenuity. Admiral Miles's voice filled the USS Resilience, steady and clear. "This is just the beginning. Stay alert and be ready. We've shown them our teeth. Now let's be prepared for their bite." The crew responded with a resounding cheer, bolstered by the success of their initial encounter. As they prepared for the next phase, the galaxy watched, and the legend of human cunning and bravery grew. Humanity had sent a clear message. Even when aliens get angry, it's the courage and ingenuity of humans that would dictate the outcome of battles. The aftermath of the initial skirmish left the Zorthian fleet in disarray, their commander, Tharvex, grappling with the reality of their unexpected losses. The Dominion's claw bore scars of battle, its hull pocked with damage from the humans' phase-shifted torpedoes. Tharvex's anger simmered as he paced the bridge, his mind racing to devise a new strategy. Prepare the fleet for a secondary assault. I want every ship ready to strike with full force, Tharvex ordered, his voice a harsh growl. We will not be made fools by these primitive beings. Back on the USS Resilience, Admiral Alara Miles convened with her senior staff, their faces lit by the soft glow of tactical screens. Despite their victory, Alara remained cautious. She knew that the Zorthians would retaliate with even greater ferocity. We've bought some time, but they'll regroup faster than we'd like. Let's reinforce our defenses and prepare for the next wave, Alara stated, her eyes scanning the room, meeting the determined looks of her crew. In the engineering bay, Chief Engineer Ramos worked feverishly to enhance the quantum phasing technology. We've seen it can give us the edge, but I want it to be more reliable. Increase the phasing duration and reduce the cooldown period, she instructed her team. On Lunaris, Colonel Lockwood coordinated with his ground forces, bolstering their positions and setting up additional traps and defenses. The moon's rough terrain provided the perfect backdrop for guerrilla tactics. Let them come, Lockwood said confidently. We'll turn this moon into a fortress they won't crack. Meanwhile, the Zorthian forces regrouped, their ships forming a tighter, more aggressive formation. Tharvex, now aware of the humans' deceptive capabilities, deployed scout ships to probe the human defenses and detect any sign of the elusive quantum phasing activity. As the Zorthians advanced, the humans monitored their movements closely. Lieutenant Kara Wells, the Resilience's tactical officer, tracked the incoming ships on her screen. They're being cautious this time, spacing out their formation to avoid our torpedoes, she observed. Good, replied Alara. Let's use their caution against them. Deploy the decoy drones and prepare for a counter-maneuver once they scatter. The human ships released a swarm of drones, which mimicked the quantum phasing signature of the USS Resilience. The Zorthian scanners picked up these signals and, believing they had located the human fleet, began to divert their forces to pursue the decoys. This is it. Execute flanking maneuver Sigma, Alara commanded. As the Zorthians chased after the drones, the real human fleet, hidden by the quantum veil, moved into a flanking position. With the Zorthians distracted, the humans launched a surprise attack. Powerful beams of concentrated energy cut through the void, striking the Zorthian ships with precision. The USS Resilience led the assault, its cannons roaring to life as they unleashed a volley of destructive fire. Tharvex watched in fury as his fleet was ambushed yet again. Converge all units. Attack formation Delta, he ordered, trying desperately to rally his forces. But the confusion wrought by the human tactics caused delays and miscommunications among his ships. The battle raged, with the human forces exploiting every Zorthian misstep. Admiral Miles maneuvered the USS Resilience through the heart of the chaos, her ship's advanced shielding deflecting the sporadic return fire. As the skirmish drew to a close, the Zorthian fleet, though still powerful, had been significantly weakened. Tharvex was forced to call retreat, his ships limping away from the battlefield, leaving debris and damaged fighters in their wake. Admiral Miles and her crew watched as the Zorthian ships retreated. Well done, everyone, but stay sharp, she cautioned. They're hurting, but not defeated. They will come back harder. Back on Earth and Lunaris, news of the skirmish spread, and humanity's spirit was bolstered. Songs were sung of the brave men and women who held the line against the alien threat, and people across the world prepared to support the war effort in any way they could. As Admiral Miles prepared her next steps, she knew that this war was far from over. The Zorthians would regroup and return, but humanity had shown that they would not bow down to anger or aggression. They would stand strong, united by their courage and ingenuity, ready to face whatever challenges came next. In the aftermath of the second victory, the morale aboard the USS Resilience was high, but Admiral Alara Miles remained vigilant. The Zorthians had retreated, yet their threat loomed larger with each encounter. As the crew of the Resilience repaired and refitted their ship, Alara convened a strategy meeting with her top advisors. "We've proven our tactics work," Alara began, her voice steady and commanding. "However, we should expect Tharvix to adapt. He's learning from each encounter. We need to stay 2 steps ahead." Lieutenant Kara Wells nodded, her eyes flickering over the latest surveillance data. "We've noticed increased activity in the Zorthian sectors. It looks like they're mobilizing something big, possibly a larger fleet or a new type of weapon. That means we need to accelerate our plans," Alara responded. She turned to Chief Engineer Ramos. "How are the enhancements to the quantum phasing tech coming along?" Ramos, a robust woman with a keen intellect, gave a confident nod. "We've made significant improvements. The phasing can now last longer, and the cooldown is shorter. We've also integrated a new cloaking layer that should make the fleet even harder to track." "Excellent," Alara said with a hint of a smile. "Prepare to implement it fleet-wide. Also, initiate the construction of the quantum mines. If Tharvix is indeed bringing a larger force, we'll make sure he meets a surprise." Meanwhile, on the Zorthian flagship Dominion's Claw, Commander Tharvix faced his own council. The losses had been severe, and dissatisfaction brewed among his officers. Yet, Tharvix's resolve only hardened. He understood that to underestimate the humans any further would be fatal. "We will not be outmaneuvered again," Tharvix declared, his voice echoing off the metal walls. "Deploy the scouts in wider formations. I want updates on the human fleet's movements every hour." As Tharvix planned his next move, the humans continued to fortify their positions. On Lunaris, Colonel Lockwood oversaw the installation of the new quantum mines around the moon's orbit. These mines were designed to disrupt the fabric of space temporarily, preventing Zorthian ships from entering or exiting FTL travel near the human defenses. "Let them come with whatever they have," Lockwood muttered as he watched the mines being set in place. Lunaris will be ready. Days turned into weeks as both sides prepared for the inevitable next encounter. The Zorthians amassed a vast armada, larger than any before, and equipped with their latest technological advancements. Tharvix, eager to reclaim his honor, planned a direct assault on Lunaris, intending to crush the human outpost once and for all. On the eve of what would be known as the Battle of Lunaris, Admiral Miles addressed her crew and the forces stationed on the moon. Her image was broadcasted across every screen, her presence a comforting symbol of leadership. "Today, we face our greatest challenge yet," Alara began, her gaze firm and inspiring. "But remember, we are not just fighting for Lunaris or for Earth. We are fighting for the very spirit of humanity. We fight with the knowledge that our courage has brought us this far, and our ingenuity has saved us before. Stand strong, and let's show the Zorthians that when they get angry, humanity stands united." The speech stirred the hearts of every soldier, engineer, and pilot within the human forces. As the Zorthian fleet approached, detected early thanks to the upgraded surveillance systems, the humans braced themselves. The quantum mines were armed, the stealth technology was activated, and every weapon was primed. The vastness of space near Lunaris filled with the ominous shadows of Zorthian warships, their engines a dull roar in the vacuum of space. Commander Tharvix, aboard the Dominion's Claw, gave the order to advance. As the first Zorthian ships neared the perimeter of Lunaris, the quantum mines activated, tearing rifts in space that caught the ships off guard. Several Zorthian vessels were caught in the disruption, their systems going haywire, rendering them immobile. "Fire all cannons. Target the immobilized ships first," Colonel Lockwood commanded from the surface. The human defenses unleashed a fury of fire, taking advantage of the chaos among the Zorthian ranks. In space, Admiral Miles maneuvered the USS Resilience and its fleet to flank the remaining Zorthian forces. The battle erupted into a maelstrom of energy blasts and evasive maneuvers. Each side pushed the limits of their tactical prowess and technological capabilities. As the conflict raged, it was clear that the battle for Lunaris would be a pivotal moment in this interstellar conflict, a test of wills between the anger of the Zorthians and the unyielding spirit of humanity. The Battle of Lunaris raged on, casting a stark tableau of chaos across the cosmos as beams of destructive energy crisscrossed the void. Above the moon, the USS Resilience and its allied ships darted through the turmoil, executing the maneuvers Admiral Miles had drilled into her crew. Below, on the moon's surface, Colonel Lockwood's forces exploited every advantage their fortified position provided, striking at the immobilized Zorthian ships with ruthless efficiency. Amidst the fierce combat, the Dominion's claw loomed large, its damaged hull bearing the scars of the previous skirmishes, yet still formidable. Commander Tharvex, watching the battle unfold from his bridge, clenched his fists in frustration. His fleet, though larger and technologically advanced, struggled against the unexpectedly robust human defenses and their cunning use of the quantum mines. Focus our firepower on breaking their line. Target the Resilience, Tharvex ordered, pointing at the holographic display where the human flagship maneuvered with irritating agility. Back on the USS Resilience, Admiral Miles received the reports of the Zorthian fleet's movements from Lieutenant Carol Wells. They're concentrating their attack on us, Admiral. Looks like Tharvex is getting desperate. Maintain our defensive maneuvers and reroute power to shields. Prepare to execute Counterstrike Sigma on my mark, Miles responded, her voice calm but carrying an underlying steel that reassured her crew. As the Zorthian forces concentrated their firepower, the USS Resilience danced through the deadly ballet of space warfare. Miles timed her counter perfectly, weaving through the barrage and closing in on the Zorthian flank exposed by their singular focus. Meanwhile, on Lunaris, Colonel Lockwood watched as the ground-based anti-ship batteries continued to hammer at the Zorthian ships caught in the minefield. The moon's surface shook with each discharge of their powerful cannons, creating a relentless symphony of destruction aimed at the alien invaders. Keep pressing, everyone. Every hit brings us closer to victory. Lockwood shouted over the din of battle to his troops, who operated with a well-oiled precision born of dire necessity. In space, Admiral Miles gave the order, and the USS Resilience and its squadron unleashed Counterstrike Sigma. The maneuver was a high-risk gambit, a series of rapid, close-range passes designed to disrupt the Zorthian formation further and allow human forces to exploit any openings. As the human ships swooped in, their enhanced weapon systems fired in synchronized volleys, targeting the weakened points of Zorthian armor identified by their previous engagements. The Dominion's claw took a direct hit, its shield flickering under the strain. Tharvex watched in disbelief as his fleet's orderly assault turned into disarray. The superior numbers and firepower that should have guaranteed his victory were being nullified by the humans' tenacious defense and strategic acumen. This isn't over yet, Tharvex roared, rallying his crew. All ships, converge on my position and prepare for a full assault. We'll crush them with our might. As the Zorthian ships regrouped for another push, the human forces readied themselves for the next phase. Admiral Miles, understanding the cost of the battle was high, steeled her resolve. This was the moment to push back harder than ever. Signal all ships. Initiate Phase 2 of Counterstrike Sigma. Let's end this, Miles commanded. With a renewed fury, the human ships executed their next move, laying down a withering fire that targeted the newly exposed vulnerabilities in the Zorthian armada. The skies above Lunaris lit up with the explosions of Zorthian cruisers and destroyers as they succumbed to the relentless human assault. Each explosion was a testament to human ingenuity and resilience, a stark reminder to the Zorthians that anger alone was no match for strategic brilliance and unified resolve. As the tide of battle turned decisively in their favor, the humans pressed their advantage. Admiral Miles's fleet, though battered, was unbroken, and her leadership had brought them to the brink of an improbable victory. On the ground, Colonel Lockwood and his troops cheered as they saw the Zorthian ships retreating from their orbital positions, their invasion thwarted. The combined might of human space and ground forces had held firm against a formidable foe. The Battle of Lunaris would be remembered not just as a victory, but as a defining moment where human courage and cleverness turned the tide against overwhelming odds. It was a message to the cosmos. When faced with the fury of an alien rage, humanity would not just endure, but prevail. In the aftermath of the Battle of Lunaris, The smoldering remains of Zorthian warships dotted the space around the moon, serving as a somber reminder of the conflict's intensity and the fierce determination of the humans defending their territory. As the Zorthians retreated, licking their wounds and regrouping in the darker corners of the cosmos, the humans began the process of recovery and reinforcement. Admiral Alara Miles stood on the bridge of the USS Resilience, overseeing the damage assessments and coordinating repair efforts. Her crew, although exhausted, was buoyed by their hard-fought victory. The success had proven their tactics and technology, but Alara knew that this was not the end. Commander Tharvix and his forces would undoubtedly return, potentially with even greater numbers and fury. "Let's use this time wisely," Alara instructed her senior staff. "Replenish our armaments, repair our ships, and refine our strategies. We must be prepared for whatever comes next." Meanwhile, on Lunaris, Colonel Darren Lockwood supervised the fortification of the moon's defenses. The victory had bought them crucial time to enhance their capabilities. With new anti-spacecraft turrets and upgraded quantum mines being installed, Lunaris was transforming into a stronghold that would make any future Zorthian assault think twice. In the depths of space, aboard the battered flagship Dominion's Claw, Commander Tharvix convened with his war council. The recent defeat had been a blow to their pride and strategic position. The Zorthians, known across the galaxy for their military prowess, found themselves reevaluating their approach in the face of human ingenuity and resilience. "We underestimated their capabilities and their resolve," Tharvix admitted, his voice tinged with frustration. "But we will not make the same mistake again. Gather intelligence, increase our surveillance, and develop countermeasures against their quantum technology." His scientists and strategists worked feverishly, analyzing the data collected from the battles. They focused on understanding the humans' quantum phasing technology, which had proven to be a game-changer in the conflict. Back on Earth, news of the victory at Lunaris spread rapidly, igniting celebrations and a renewed sense of unity and purpose. The Earth Defense Council convened to discuss the ongoing war effort, with Admiral Miles providing insights via a secure communication link. "We've shown that we can hold our ground against the Zorthians," Alara reported. "Now, we must continue to advance our technology and expand our defensive network. We also need to consider building alliances with other civilizations who may be willing to stand with us." The Council agreed, and plans were put into motion to reach out to neighboring systems and potential allies. The human spirit, emboldened by their successes, was more determined than ever to protect their home and maintain their sovereignty. As weeks turned into months, both sides engaged in a high-stakes game of cosmic chess. The Zorthians, enhancing their fleet with new technology designed to counteract the humans' quantum capabilities, prepared for a decisive strike that they hoped would turn the tide of the war. Admiral Miles, ever vigilant, monitored these developments closely. She knew the Zorthians were planning something significant. Preparing for this, she coordinated a series of drills and simulations to keep her fleet sharp and ready for any eventuality. "Our greatest strength is our adaptability and our unity," Alara often reminded her crew. "We face a formidable enemy, but together we can overcome any challenge." As the tension in the galaxy simmered, a cold war of technology and intelligence unfolded. Both humans and Zorthians knew that the next engagement would be critical, a battle that could potentially decide the fate of not just Lunaris, but of human civilization itself. In this quiet before the storm, both sides advanced their preparations. The humans fortified their positions and expanded their technological arsenal, while the Zorthians refined their strategies and enhanced their firepower. The galaxy watched and waited, knowing that the next clash between these two powers would be even more catastrophic and decisive than the last. As the galaxy braced for the impending storm, the human territories buzzed with activity. Admiral Alara Miles, stationed at the forefront of Earth's space defenses aboard the USS Resilience, was deep into strategizing the next phase of their defense. Her experience and foresight had been pivotal in past victories, and now, more than ever, her skills were tested as they anticipated a major offensive from the Zorthians. Keep the patrols tight and the scanners on high alert, Alara instructed her fleet captains during a strategy session. The Zorthians have been quiet for too long. We need to be ready for anything. In the shadows of a distant nebula, the Zorthian fleet, larger and more formidable than ever, readied themselves under the command of Tharvex. The losses they had suffered had only hardened their resolve. The enhancements to their fleet were not just reactive, but also innovative, incorporating advanced cloaking technology that could potentially neutralize the humans' quantum phasing advantage. Let the humans enjoy their false sense of security, Tharvex sneered, his confidence bolstered by his revamped armada. Today, we end this charade. The Zorthian armada, cloaked and silent, began their approach towards the human defenses, their movements hidden by the new stealth technology. As they neared the outer rim of human space, Tharvex prepared to launch a simultaneous, multi-front attack, aiming to overwhelm the humans with sheer force and surprise. Back on Earth, amidst the preparations, a breakthrough in intelligence gathering came through. Lieutenant Kara Wells, working closely with the intelligence team, decoded intercepted communications hinting at the imminent Zorthian attack. Admiral, we've picked up chatter about a large-scale movement in the Zorthian sectors. It looks like they've managed to cloak their fleet. We're not sure of their exact position yet, but it's coming soon. Kara reported urgently. Alert all units. Prepare the iron net. We may not be able to see them, but we can certainly disrupt their cloaking. Alara responded immediately, her calm demeanor a stark contrast to the urgency of the situation. The iron net was a new defensive technology designed to emit a broad spectrum of ionic interference, capable of unveiling cloaked ships by disrupting their stealth systems. As the Zorthian fleet breached the outer defenses, their cloaking shields met the disruptive force of the iron net. One by one, the Zorthian ships flickered into visibility, caught off guard and exposed. Now, all units, fire at will. Target the newly visible ships first. Push them back. Alara commanded, her voice resounding across the fleet's communications. The human ships, strategically positioned and ready, unleashed a barrage of fire. Energy weapons lit up the space around them, striking the once hidden Zorthian ships with devastating accuracy. The Zorthians, surprised by the sudden countermeasure, scrambled to respond. Amidst the chaos, Tharvex realized the tide was turning against them once more. Regroup and return fire. Do not let them break our line, he ordered, but the panic had set in, and the coordination of his fleet faltered. On Earth and its surrounding colonies, people watched the battle unfold through live feeds, their hearts filled with a mix of fear and hope. The skies above, once dark and silent, now blazed with the light of human defiance. The battle raged for hours, with both sides suffering losses. However, the humans, driven by their determination to protect their home and empowered by their innovative defense strategies, slowly gained the upper hand. As the Zorthians began to retreat once again, a sense of cautious relief spread among the human forces. Admiral Miles, observing the retreat of the Zorthian ships, felt a profound responsibility for the lives under her command and the civilization they all vowed to protect. This is not just a victory, Alara addressed her crew and the people of Earth following the battle. It's a statement. We will not be intimidated or conquered. As long as we stand together, we stand strong. The battle's outcome sent ripples across the galaxy, showcasing the resilience and technological prowess of humanity. As they prepare for any potential future conflicts, the humans continue to innovate and strengthen their bonds, both within their own species and with potential allies across the stars. The war was far from over, but humanity had once again proven their ability to rise to the challenge, turning desperation into determination and fear into fortitude. The saga of human resilience was being written in the stars, a testament to their spirit and tenacity in the face of overwhelming odds. As the dust settled from the climactic battle, the USS Resilience floated in the silent expanse of space, surrounded by remnants of the conflict. Admiral Alara Miles stood on the bridge, gazing into the vastness, reflecting on the journey that had brought humanity to this point. Each victory had come with its costs, and while the resilience of her people had been tested, It had never faltered. News of a potential peace broke the cycle of preparation for the next conflict. A Zorthian faction, weary of continuous defeat, had extended an olive branch. The message, decoded and delivered by Lieutenant Carrawells, suggested a shift in the tide, one that could lead to lasting peace. Arrange a meeting with the Earth Defense Council and inform our allies. We need a united front if we are to negotiate terms of peace, Alara instructed, her mind already turning over the possibilities and dangers of diplomacy. The council convened with a palpable tension in the air. Leaders and strategists debated the merits and risks of entering talks with the Zorthians. Admiral Miles, with the steadiness that had guided her through the war, advocated for a cautious approach. Peace is a delicate venture, Alara addressed the council. We must pursue this chance but remain vigilant. Our readiness to defend must be as robust as our willingness to negotiate. It was decided humanity would engage in peace talks, a testament to their desire for a stable future. The USS Resilience was prepared to host the historic meeting, turning from a vessel of war to one of diplomacy. As the designated day arrived, the Zorthian delegation, led by the diplomats Alara, was greeted aboard the Resilience. Initial exchanges were stiff, but respectful, each side measuring the other's commitment to peace. We have seen the strength and courage of humanity. Zalara opened the discussion, her voice carrying a tone of respect. It is time to end our hostilities and find a path forward. Admiral Miles responded, We welcome your initiative, Zalara. Let's explore how we can build a lasting peace that benefits both our peoples. Negotiations stretched over several days, characterized by intense sessions of dialogue and compromise. The terms of the treaty were painstakingly drafted to include disarmament zones, prisoner exchanges, and economic cooperation, steps designed to forge a robust peace. As the final session concluded and the treaty was signed, there was a sense of historic achievement. Both sides had come together to choose a future defined not by conflict, but by cooperation. Admiral Miles addressed her crew and the watching worlds. This treaty isn't just the end of a war. It's the beginning of a new era. We must be guardians not only of our territory, but also of this peace. Let us move forward with open hearts and vigilant eyes. Celebrations erupted across human territories, with people daring to hope for a future without war. The peace treaty, a testament to the possibility of change, marked a new chapter in galactic relations. The USS Resilience journeyed back to Earth, its mission of war completed, now a beacon of the peace it helped achieve. As Admiral Miles looked out at the stars, now seemingly at peace, she felt a deep sense of pride and responsibility. Humanity had defended its home and now would lead in building a future where dialogue triumphed over destruction. The story of their resilience, determination, and ultimately, their desire for peace would echo through history, a reminder of the power of unity and the strength of the human spirit.